and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Coming up on the show today, we'll be talking about badminton, of course. It's a new year, and most of the federation already bringing out what they really want to achieve for the year. So badminton is going to get our attention today because the president is right here in the studio in Lagos. Also, the FIFA Best Award, for the first time, Cristiano Ronaldo did not even make the list. So he's not in contention for the FIFA Best Award. Yes, he was at the World Cup, but was one of his worst outing, you would say, at the World Cup, because some of the matches he was even bench. And of course, the Argentine players are the ones dominating the Best FIFA Award, simply because, you know why, they won the World Cup. And for the women, Arsenal players and also Barcelona players are dominating that. You know the reason, because England won the Euros and most of the players play for Arsenal. And of course, Barcelona winning the Champions League, that's also the reason why they are dominating. For the goalkeeper, for the first time, we're having a goalkeeper from Africa actually being nominated as part of the best goalkeepers that you have for this year. So the Best FIFA Awards will be taking place later in the year, but you already have all the nominations, FIFA releasing them today. Also, we'll touch down on the EFL Cup, where we have the fixtures for the semi-finals. So much more to talk about on Sports Tonight. And also, just a quick reminder on the game that happened this evening between Edo Queens and Abia Angels, where Abia Angels got a good result. All 30 points, a lone goal by Nkechi Agams in the 54th minute, and that was all it took them to be able to get all 3 points. Despite the fact that Edo Queens just launched their new kit, home and away, playing with their kit on the very first match, and they suffered their loss of the season. They're supposed to be at the top of the table, but after now, we'll see what the table will be looking like. Well, our guest is in the studio, and of course, we'll be touching down on badminton and what the federation is actually doing to ensure that they will have a better season this year. Good evening, President. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
All right, let's get started with this one, which is really a good one for badminton. Yes, at the Olympics, yes, it was a good outing, but the Commonwealth Games, something happened. And of course, we didn't really see the players, but there's so many things. Of course, you're going to tell us some of the things that happened behind the scene and, of course, the focus for the year. But let's start off with what are the plans for this year for badminton, the programs you have?
Well, we are coincidentally, we are putting together a retreat and a strategy session for the Federation coming up next weekend. We felt we should really sit down, have a kind of review, look at what we've done in the past, what have we done well, which areas can we improve upon, and then what is the strategy. And I'll tell you up front that, you know, there's this popular saying that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you keep getting the same results. Over the past few years, yes, I mean, a lot of people have acknowledged the fact that badminton has made a lot of progress.
Yes.
But we strongly feel that we can do better. So that is the reason, the major reason for this. We would have had this maybe towards the end of last year, but, you know, we had quite a lot of activities, sports festival, and, you know. So we are doing that this month, and, I mean, the coming weekend, and immediately after that, we'll come up with our calendar for the year. So all our programs lined up and all that. So basically, I will tell you that if you want to have a clear view of what the year is going to look like for badminton in Nigeria, after next weekend, we'll come all out and we'll publish.
Okay, so you're not going to tell us, I mean, obviously you have some things planned. I mean, obviously the season, which is irregular, and of course, some championships that you usually do every year. Maybe a sneak peek into some of these.
Yeah, quite a few things. I'll tell you that for the past few years, we've been planning to officially relaunch the shuttle time. That's what we call it. But it's basically a program to go to the grassroots, and that's for secondary schools. We want to start from there. So, but every time we planned one thing or the other, and the last one was the COVID that just upset the whole plan. So this time around, we want to really get that program off the ground. And we see the future of the game in that program. That is where we hope to discover the talents that will turn out to be champions in the few years to come. So we want to give it a lot of attention, and it's going to be one of the focus areas for us. And then Of course, next year is the Olympics.
Yes.
We are the last Olympics. For badminton, it has been a 12-year cycle. We go to the Olympics every 12 years. So this last one we went. So we want to break that jinx. Okay. Nothing says badminton can go to the Olympics back to back. So if we went to the last one in Japan, we can also be in the next one in Paris. And we are going to try. So when you talk of having championships and internationals for our players to attend, we are looking at, for example, next month we have the All Africa Seniors, okay, which is one of the championships. We can look forward to our players gaining enough points to go up in the world ranking, because any time from May, the official qualifiers for the Olympics will kick off. But you start where you are in world ranking. So if you are 100, that's where you are going to start the race for qualification for the Olympics. So it's going to be very beneficial if our players are in very good positions at the flag off for qualifying for the Olympics. So we are going to try to see if we can send our team to South Africa. Mind you, our player, Anu Oluwakbo Opeyori, is the current African champion. He won that championship in Uganda last year. So we want him to go this time to defend it, and possibly our other players who will be part of the team to also go there and stamp their authority. Okay. That's where we belong in Africa. So.
I'm liking that. But let me go back to the one you talk about, the grassroots level, where you have to, the shuttle that you talked about.
Shuttle time, yeah.
The shuttle time that you talked about. Is it going to be across the federation, or you're going to have like a catchment area, maybe Lagos, Abuja, or you're going to be across the federation?
No.
And are you going to work with the local, local FAs? I'm talking about each state. Obviously, they have their chairman. How are you going to work with them to achieve that?
We are going to, that program is going to be flagged up all over the country. Okay. So what we'll do is, for the pilot scheme, we'll just select certain schools. We'll arrive at a number per state. And then after that pilot scheme, we'll begin to expand and increase the number. So every state we have a representative. We'll select schools from each state. Then when we introduce the program, we'll organize competitions for selected schools. So we have champions coming out from the zones who will now go to the national. Mind you, we have the African Schools Champions. So we hope that from this program, we will now be able to naturally select the schools that will go represent Nigeria at the African Schools Championships. So,
okay, that's a brilliant one. I'm really looking forward to us having that, especially with the fact that most, apart from badminton, even CAF, I've gone to secondary schools, having the secondary school championships. So most people actually embracing this, because that's usually bedrock where you groom athletes for that. But Austin is in London. We will be asking you some questions when he's ready to join us on the program. Austin, are you ready for us?
I'm ready, Cecilia, ready. Good to be on the show. Sporting greetings to you. And of course, everyone joining us from different parts of the world. Francis Obi, good to have you on the show. Let me start by saying Happy New Year. I've been listening to you talk about the plans for the development of badminton in Nigeria. But let me begin this, because without peace and unity, we're not going to achieve anything. Is there peace now in the Badminton Federation of Nigeria?
Well, I can tell you authoritatively, Austin, that I know what you are talking about. It slowed us down a bit, but 100%, the badminton family in Nigeria is together. I can tell you that, and everybody is ready to go. So, like the retreat I talked about, we are going to have all the board members will be there, and then we have a few critical stakeholders who will also come join us, and we have resource people who are also going to moderate and also contribute. We want to do things differently, I will tell you, and I will tell you why. We realize that we've always known that depending on government for funding is a tall order. Yes, they've come to our aid at some time, but it can never be enough. So if we really want to achieve, we need to think outside the box. We need to do things differently. So the major focus is going to be which are those programs that we think will be very beneficial to the growth of the game. Then 2, funding, alternative means of funding for the sport. It's a very critical area. So I can tell you the family is together, and like you said, when there's no unity, there can be no peace, and where there's no peace, there can be no progress and growth. We realize that, and that's why we focused on making sure that we resolved all the issues and we are back as one family.
Awesome. I was with you at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and I've been speaking to some of the badminton senior players in Nigeria. You know, Okpeyori is a good friend. I speak to Dorcas, and they were pretty saddened that badminton didn't feature at the Commonwealth Games. How much of a setback was that, and how can the Federation work to ensure that we have badminton feature at the Paris 2024 Olympics?
Well, Austin, we were together there, and I shared with you my pain. Majority of the badminton family in Nigeria, we are reaching out. Why is Nigeria not there? Other African countries were there, but like I told you, it was a case of funding. The ministry couldn't go with the 12 sports originally earmarked to attend the Commonwealth Games. At the end of the day, it was pruned down to 9. And badminton, unfortunately, was one of these 3 sports that was dropped after we had trained and prepared. So it was a setback because that was a world ranking championship. If our players had attended, I'm sure quite a few of them would have improved on their world ranking, but we didn't have that opportunity anymore. And it sort of dampened their morale. So, which is why we are really looking forward. We are putting a lot of pressure on the ministry to see that our team attend the African Championship in South Africa next month. That is our own, like the Cup of Nations, you know, African Cup of Nations in football. That's the badminton version, and that is where you determine who the African champion is. And currently, like you know, Anu is the current champion for the men's singles because he was the only one who could attend last year's edition. We couldn't send the team there. So Nigeria has been missing from the African scene for a while, and we think we need to go back and take up our position in Africa, which is #1.
Okay, you actually mentioned alternative funding. You can't rely on the ministry for funds. Now, what are the arrangements you're making? Because you're looking at next month here. I mean, that's February. Yeah. Today is 12, right? So you just have some few days before that. I mean, anything coming from this ministry as at now, and on your own part, in case the ministry will not, you know, come to the party, maybe release the funds, what's going to happen? Are you looking at alternative funds and how are you going to go about that?
We're engaging the ministry. We're in conversation, and we are hoping and praying hard that they will come to.
And if it doesn't happen?
We're also talking to a few of our sponsors who have always been there for us to see what can happen. Like I said last year, because of lack of funding, we took only a player. And coincidentally, he won his own category. So that tells you that if we went with more, we would have won more medals. So we are talking to others in the private sector. And we hope we'll have 1 or 2 people come to our aid.
Okay. What's the projection? How many players are we expected to feature?
For the, you know, there's a team event and there's the individual event. So for the team, the minimum number is 2 male, 2 female, and the maximum is 6. But you know, it will be foolhardy for any country to go with 2 male and 2 female, because for a team event you need to have enough players, because you have about 5 events: singles, doubles, mixed doubles, and you have the men's and the women. So if you don't go with enough players, then the pressure will be so much on the few, and anything can happen. Injury can occur. So a lot of countries, I remember the one we went for in Algeria, we went with 6 boys and 4 girls. But when we hosted in Port Harcourt, of course, we went with the full team, 6-6. So we had flexibility. We could change our team, we could change strategy, and that's only a function of when you have enough players. So we are hoping that we'll be able to go to South Africa with a minimum of 4 boys and 4 girls, or possibly, if we can make it 6-6, that would be okay.
That's interesting because, I mean, okay, Austin, you're coming in here.
Yeah, I just wanted to, you know, take him back to some developmental programs that the BFN have been talking about. Francis Obi, I think it was 2-3 years ago, you mentioned something about, is it the shuttle program? Remind me again.
Shuttle time,
about
yes.
Taking back.
Shuttle time.
Say that again.
Shuttle time.
Good, the shuttle time. You know, where are we with that program? Because you sounded optimistic that can turn things around for badminton in Nigeria.
we are still very confident that that's the way to go. Yes, as at that time, a lot had gone into planning because we didn't want to do something that was not going to be sustainable. Not something that after a few months or a year, you can no longer say, oh, the program is still going on. So we did a lot of planning, but like I mentioned to Cecilia, COVID was one of the major, when we were about to take off. So we are back to the drawing board now, and it's one of the things we are going to discuss extensively at our strategy session next weekend. It's one of the programs we feel strongly we should take off, and I mean, for us, the future of the game in Nigeria lies in that program.
I like it too. But how challenging will it be to get into the schools, get into the grassroots, to get kids involved with badminton, particularly igniting the interests?
Well, it's going to be tough, but they say nothing ventured, nothing gained. We are confident that we'll be able to make the impact, seriously. And if we put it together right, we are sure also that it will be good enough to attract, the private sector to want to be part of it. That is the key. And now when I talk of alternative sources of funding, that is what I'm talking about. We are not looking at government, because government is overstretched and there's a limit to what they can do in terms of funding. So we want to go out there and see what we can do on our own.
Cecilia will take it now, but Francis Obi, I just wanted to let you know that the media is monitoring. When you guys say things, we hold you accountable. So Cecilia, you can take it now.
I love that accountability aspect of it, because usually at the beginning of the year, each federations, they roll out their programs. And then at the end of the year, we'll start asking questions. What happened to a particular program? And of course, funds is usually the answer, no funding for it. I love the fact that, yes, we were planning to take maximum players to South Africa, so which is going to be a good one if the funds actually come. And we're using this opportunity to actually appeal to sponsors to try as much as possible. We don't want the athletes, the disappointment of what happened at the Commonwealth Games to happen at the Nations Cup, because this is not something that would be acceptable to most of the players who, wants to play this sport professionally. And then at the end of the day, because of funds, they just can't afford to go. Hopefully the ministry will come through, and hopefully the sponsors you're talking to will also come through so that these players can attend. Now let's talk about, you talk about this grassroots project, which is really, I'm happy about, because it's something that is really big and huge. Do you have plans to actually have like a league? Because tennis have started something, table tennis, they've started something like that. Handball, of course, we've seen what they do, the abridged version and everything, Division 1, Division 2, which is really commendable. So badminton, can we have something similar to that, where athletes will have opportunity, Maybe at least, it's 1 or 3 months, just play something like that.
At the beginning of this program, I told you that we are going to have a strategy session.
Okay, that will be.
That's part of what we want to have, like a tour, so that our players will be busy. And then they will be able to also earn something out of that. It's not just being there playing 1 or 2 competitions. So there's something big coming. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay. This should have been breaking news for us. Okay, we'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed and wait when this will happen. Because if players have opportunity to play every time, getting money, because sometimes I wonder, how do they even survive? You're supposed to be a professional athlete. You're still doing side jobs to keep the body and soul together, because the money is really not coming as at when due. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the program today. Is there anything you really want to add? Quickly. If you have like 30 seconds.
I wanted to say that with the way you are coming with these ideas, maybe we should invite you to be part of our strategy session, because these are fantastic. It's a very good, to hit something that we are focusing on. For me, is quite commendable. But to round up, I would say that there's a lot to be done, and we need the support of especially the private sector, the corporate bodies. They can't leave it to government alone, and we are going to try to be as organized as possible. We are going to continue to be as accountable as possible, because that's very key. You must get the trust and confidence of people you are going to meet to say, come and support us. And that is what we want to promise. But the only way we can succeed, like I'm saying, is if all these corporate bodies and the private sector can actually come to our aid.
All right, thank you, Francis Obi, for coming on the program tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, Bolu Omoniyi will be joining me on the segment. Of course, the FIFA Best Award will get our attention. Welcome back. Bolu Omoniyi is right here. Well, thank you for coming. Good evening.
Good evening. I enjoyed you guys' conversation with Francis Obi. He's one of the persons we see the way they run the federation going well. Just that I felt sad for them for the Commonwealth game and the fact that they had an interview with the best badminton player in Africa. The guy was almost in tears, saying they told him there was no money. Okay, let me fund myself. He said they told him, it's too late. No more. I'm like, and we took some persons who had no business going there from. But I hope we've all learned from it, because you could see from him they are ready to move forward. They said maybe you should join the board and bring in ideas. So I like it when people see ideas and they welcome it. It shows someone who wants to learn. It shows someone who wants his team to improve. So hopefully 2023 will be a good year for badminton. We want all our sports to do well. So if football, God forbid, this World Cup, we won't feel so dead and bad. We know, okay, well, if it's not happening here, it's happening here. So hopefully badminton grew from where it was in 2023.
Yeah, hopefully it grows. And of course, it's so-called strategic meeting they want to have. They can have something good coming out from there, and they get the support they need, because that is really important, because they need to go to the Nations Cup. Defending champion is from here. Yes, he was the only one who attended, and he also won that singles event. We show how talented they have, but if they don't have sponsors, it's going to be difficult for these players to really excel in their career. Yeah, Austin, of course, let's touch down on what's going on in the Nigerian Professional Football League. BFN Insurance to get our attention, because just yesterday, last night, yes, they unveiled their new jersey with Edo Queens also. But the sad news this evening was that the results coming from Edo Queens, yeah, they lost to Abia Angels by a lone goal with that new jersey. Yeah, it's sad one. But then, yeah. Insurance, yes. According to the deputy governor of the state, he says he wants to build a stadium for insurance, better insurance. So that's really commendable. A way to go, right?
That's the way to go, and we must commend the Edo State government and Philip Shaibu for everything he's been doing for the team. When they got the sponsorship, they said, this is good for a state government, team to be forward thinking. It's a good thing, which is what I've always been advocating. In fact, you know me so well. I say if we want our league football to grow, it should go out of the hands of state government. They should find ways to partner with the private sector to keep it going. BFN Insurance, I don't think we've ever heard anything about welfare being a problem. They pay the players on time. They have good bonuses. Same with Edo Queens. At a time, we were even talking about Edo Queens and BFN Insurance are receiving the same salary when we talk about equality in football, So good one from Edo State government. BFN Insurance comes with so much pride and history that we shouldn't even just be talking about having a stadium for BFN Insurance now, Yes, the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium is a good place to start after the renovation, but with the history of BFN Insurance, with everything that BFN Insurance have done with league football in Nigeria, they deserve to be up there when you talk about Enugu Rangers, Shooting Stars. You must put BFN Insurance in the mix, So shout out to the state government. Let's see, last season when they launched the jersey, we did our findings and found out that was even some good way for the state government to make money to sustain the team. More clubs should do the same thing. They should think about sustainability. They should think about professionalism. And I like that Edo State government, and the efforts of Philip Shaibu seem to be paying off. And look at the way they started the new season, going away to beat Aqua United. That's a good way to say thank you to, the persons that are putting, efforts and money into making sure that the team looks good. So good job, Edo State government. So because the Edo Queens, I know sometimes the way the team plays with the support they've got to Cecilia, they play under pressure because they want to impress. They also want to say thank you for everything happening. Maybe that's what is affecting the team, Maybe they need to calm down, get it right psychologically, and they'll start winning. But with the unveiling of the jersey, thumbs up to the state government.
All right, let's take a listen to Monday Odige, talking more about BFN Insurance and their plans for the season, and also the Deputy Governor of the state, Philip Shaibu.
This year, the governor has promised, and he has asked the ministry to start the process. We are going to be building a dedicated stadium and accommodation for Bender Insurance. And the governor also has approved another purchase of a bus for Bender Insurance and the supporters club. The supporters club has never been, nobody has funded them before, they fund themselves. When we came on board, we told them we are not going to use 1 kobo of Bender Insurance to fund them, that they must source for their funding. If they are truly fans of Bender Insurance, they should also contribute to that. And I must salute them. We have not been funding them. They've been loyal to the club, and they are the number 12 player on the field, always.
Insurance in the NPFL is a thing of joy to all Edolites. And talking about being there for business, the team understands how huge expectations people have on them. So the team will try to do what it can to justify being the NPFL. And like I said, try to remain where they ought to have been for a while. I've always said it to people, it's one game after the other, then you can do a quarterly check on where you are. I mean, everybody wants to win every game he plays. So I think that's what we'll try to do. We don't want to talk outside just every game that comes. Don't forget the team is new in the NPFL. So even if you have to set goals for yourself, they have to be realistic goals. So let's take one game after the other and see how we can go.
Realistic goals. That's a good one, of course. They started their game on the winning notes, going away from home to Aqua United. Austin should hear that very well. Aqua United 2-0, and they went right there at the Stadium and they collected all 3 points. So, yeah. And that's why
Cecilia,
right?
Cecilia, I love upsets.
Yes, I know.
Love this thing about. So I want to say something different. If Aqua United had beaten Bendel Insurance, it would have been news, So I love the fact that they went away, started their season well. So let's see how they'll progress,
Bolu, quick one on you. I mean, Insurance have been fantastic. Would I just okay? The club. I mean, the club is well run. I mean, Austin painted everything, a good picture of what they've been doing so far, from what Deputy Governor has also said, and also the coach, their plans for this season. Take a look at the clubs and what they've been able to do from NNL, coming into the NPFL. Yes, it's just starting. I mean, also the news of them having their own stadium. We know Remo Stars already have that. I'm sure Insurance wants to imitate. Ben Insurance also wants to imitate them and also have their own stadium where, I mean, no political rally can stop any game.
Well, I like what the coach did, first of all. He set a realistic target.
Yes.
It's not that just come because you're doing well, you're improving, we want to win the league. Now, grow it's possible to win the league, but at least grow step by step. The last time we had an abridged version, we know what happened to the newly promoted side. And the one thing is key, launching jerseys is a different thing. Then the fact that they have jersey sponsors, that's not what you see every time in the NPFL. So I think that's also a step in the right direction. And for the ladies, everything is just so working well, except the match they lost, was it today? Yeah, because the deputy governor trained with them yesterday. So maybe you should not train with anybody. Remember, he, like I said, a lover of football. He played with Bendel Insurance. Even when he was deputy governor, was still playing with them. So maybe his presence alone with the women's team is a bit of a pressure. But I like that money is not a challenge for these two teams. So when you know you are doing your job, my money is coming in. I'll probably give everything I can. If we can get support, if we get things like this from all the state government-owned clubs, people won't complain about government interference or government running things. But if it's the ones that we don't even know if not shooting, social assets have been paid yet. So you keep carrying 7 months, 6 months, all those things. You will not want to give your best. But if these guys don't relegated, I don't think it's magic. There's a plan in place. And having your stadium in the NPFL, it's not something you hear every time. You only hear the likes of Remo, you hear the likes of Enyimba. It is not enough. So it's also a welcome development from Edo State.
And also, maybe another thing could be when he talked about, yesterday, when I was listening to him, when he talked about the fact that the purpose-driven, so what they've been able to achieve is through private partnership with the government. Maybe that's what clubs should also embrace. Yes, you may not hands off football totally, but you can also partner with private sector. I mean, when we saw the unveiling, the pictures, we saw, corporate bodies, I mean, we're part of the unveiling. So call the sponsors, be here. You know, that alone actually are the credence, you know, to really what clubs can really do to make money, because you can't always run to the coffers of the government all the time to, you know, get money. And you also mentioned something about supporters also. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to pay, because it's quite disheartening when you hear, I mean, you pay supporters to support a team. Where is it? What does it happen? So insurance actually, you know, leading the way. Supporters know, yes, you want to support our team, support the team. They don't need to pay you. You have to support and support the team well. Be the 12th man.
I think they need good marketing team, good PR team. Media officer is beyond just writing match reports. Media officer is supposed to be a team where you do so many things. Just push your team out and have good marketing team. I tell people what a brand just needs is sell yourself. If they believe in the dream, if they believe in what you are selling, they will. And when you, for example, the league coming to TV, is one win for all the clubs that know what they are doing. Because if I'm probably a jersey sponsor, even if it's just on the sleeve, yeah, I know people, hundreds, thousands and millions of people will see whatever we are selling. So the teams need to do what we sometimes blame FAs, we sometimes blame club or everything, but even the teams themselves, the clubs, what are they doing more? If you are thinking brands will come and meet you, you are joking. The brands will not come. So I think everybody needs to play their part. They need to play their role. And like you rightly said, Edo State now they've led the charge. Private investors, even Francis Obi for Badminton said the same thing. Private investors are always willing to come on board. But what are you doing? What are you saying to them to come? Do you just sit down in your office or in your stadium and expect them to start rolling the money? Nah, you need to sell something to them. And if they buy whatever you are selling, for example, our defending champions, you don't need any stress. Just tell them you are going on the continent. Beyond Nigeria, Africans will see you. That's a good selling point. So I think our clubs need to do more. Have good marketing teams, have good PR teams, and everything will work well for them.
All right. Hopefully everything working well for them. Austin, now time to talk about, well, the best award, the FIFA Best Awards, of course, for the men and the women. Not surprising, because Cristiano Ronaldo is not even a contender at all. He can't even make the 14-man list. I mean, that's really heartbreaking. Of course, the Argentine players dominating the two Lionel, yes, Lionel Scaloni and also Lionel Messi, making it. Julian Alvarez also part of that. So when you take a look at the FIFA Best Awards, I mean, any surprises for you? You can reel out the names when it's ready.
Yeah, but you see, it's difficult to accept that Cristiano Ronaldo isn't on that list. It's very difficult. And I've been listening to a different analysis. I've been hearing people talk about what they were expecting, you know, from this FIFA Best Award. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal, I think, made it to the quarterfinals. At the World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo has been pretty decent until the World Cup break came with Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo is Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, so it's just difficult to accept that Cristiano Ronaldo isn't on that list when you really take a look at everything that he's done for football until this moment. But awards are awards, Cecilia, you know, so if they don't get us talking, then we haven't done the, you know, then it's not an award. So I should leave it for Bolu. I co-present the show with you, you know, so let Bolu, what people will come at me now. I know this Messi and Ronaldo people, they are watching and they're like, what is Austin trying to say? Before someone will bring the comparison that Messi won the World Cup, I have not compared both of them yet. I'm just saying, Cristiano Ronaldo being Cristiano Ronaldo, if you're shortlisting 15 players in the world for an award, it should be there. That's what I think.
Okay.
It's my opinion.
Before we do Cristiano Ronaldo's discussion, let's just take a look at the players. We're starting with the women's team. Of course, expectedly, the teams that you're having, Viviane is there from Netherlands, Arsenal. Alex Morgan of USA, she's also part of it. Diego Wave, that's what she played for. Elena Obedov, she's also part of the squad. Wolfsburg, Germany. Alexandra Paul from Australia, a German, sorry for that, from Germany, plays for Wolfsburg. Alexia Putellas from Spain, Barcelona. Of course, Wendy Renner from France, Olympique Lyon, part of it. You also have Kara Walsh from England, Manchester City. And of course, Leah Williamson, the captain of England, led them to win the Euros just last year. Julian Alvarez for the men. We saw Julian Alvarez of Argentina, Manchester City. Jude Bellingham of England. He made it, Borussia Dortmund, but you don't have Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm sure that's why there's so many questions being asked. Karim Benzema of France, Real Madrid, of course, he didn't get to the World Cup, but his performance also winning Ballon d'Or, he needed to be here. Kevin De Bruyne, he didn't have a fantastic time at the World Cup, but club level, he's been good. Belgium and Manchester City. Erling Haaland of Norway, his scoring goals as he's going out of fashion. That's why he made the list. But Hakimi, Ashraf of Morocco, of course, PSG, and also what he did with the Moroccan team at the FIFA World Cup. Robert Lewandowski, yes, for Poland, Barcelona. There's Sadio Mane of Senegal. Bayern Munich, he's been doing fantastically well with the club, but then he couldn't go to the World Cup because of injury. Kylian Mbappe, of course, he needed to be here. France and PSG. Lionel Messi, yeah, obviously he's the favorite to win this one. Luka Modric, Croatia, and Real Madrid also part of it. They got to semi-finals of the World Cup, and of course Neymar, Brazil, PSG. Mo Salah is also here. Vinicius Jr. is also part of this one. Now, for women's coaches, Sonia Bobasta of France, Olympique Lyon is there. MIS, especially Chelsea, is here. I also have Prisman Bev of England and a Canadian national team. We have a Per Songe of Sweden, Brazilian national team, of course, that's where she coaches. And now Martina Vos Zuckerberg of Germany, the German national team. Coach Serena Wigma, who led England to their first Euros, is also part of that. For the men's coaches of the year, you have Carlo Ancelotti from an Italian, Real Madrid coach, Didier Deschamps in France. Of course, what he did with France taking them to the finals, wasn't able to win it. Pep Guardiola of Manchester City, yeah, Vali Regragui, of course. That's a Moroccan national team being able to take Morocco to semi-finals. The first time you have an African team get to the semi-finals at the World Cup. And Lionel Scaloni, who won the World Cup for Argentina, the Argentine national team. And then we'll go to the women's goalkeepers nominee. And Katrin Berger of Germany plays for Chelsea. Mary Earps of England, who plays for Manchester United. You also have Christian Egler of Chile, plays for Olympique Lyon. And of course, Mel Franz of Germany plays for Wolfsburg. Alicia Nair of USA plays for Chicago Red Stars. And Sandra Garcia of Spain plays for Barcelona. These are the goalkeepers for the women. And of course, for the men, Alison Becker is also there. Because Brazil and Liverpool, Yassine Bono, yes, he's going to get our attention because of what he did to Morocco. First time we're having an African goalkeeper actually making the nominees for the goalkeepers of the year for the best FIFA award. Thibaut Courtois is also made this one. Real Madrid, yes, they won the Champions League that season. Possibly that's why he's here, because Belgium crashed out the group stage at the World Cup. Ederson of Brazil and Manchester City. And of course, Emiliano Martinez, yeah, the World Cup winner of Aston Villa, Argentina. Yes, these are the players that we have for the best FIFA football awards for 2022. A whole lot, Bolu. I mean, yes, we started with Cristiano Ronaldo, but all these players are here. Most of them, yes, they needed to be here. But if you're taking out Cristiano Ronaldo, he's not here, and you're having a Mo Salah, then you're having Robert Lewandowski. Okay, I'm looking at the fact that it's a full year from January to December. That's what they're looking at. Take that into consideration. So that means Cristiano Ronaldo has been woeful and he couldn't make, how many players? 14.
Football is weird. I told some guys if the World Cup was in the summer,
yeah,
maybe it would have been a different ball game. Remember, Messi finished the season poorly.
Yeah.
Ronaldo finished the season on the high. But when the new season started, it was a different story entirely. But for whatever reason, I would never have added someone like Willian Alvarez into it. For no reason.
Alvarez.
Because even yeah, he had a good World Cup, but he didn't even start at the World Cup. So I would not have added Alvarez for any reason. I could have replaced it with anybody. Even in the Argentinas, I probably would have had Enzo Fernandez ahead of him in that team. I would have had Rodrigo de Paul ahead of him in that team. At least those guys play regular for, not maybe, at least they play for their club sides. And they also play for the national team.
These players were just...
I would have had Olivier Giroud there, because if it's by goals, both of them scored the same number of goals at the World Cup, and Giroud is a superstar for his club side. But it's still tough. One thing is certain, one will win. But I think the favourite will be between the Benzema, probably will come third, but Mbappe may be second, and Messi looks like the favourite, but we never get. If it's based on performance at the World Cup and for the club side, I think I'll give Mbappe without any stress, because Mbappe was brilliant for the club side last season and this current campaign.
What did he win?
He won for his club side. He didn't win for France. But like they would say, yeah, he won the league for the PSG.
And
Same
Messi
thing
also...
Yeah, Messi was there. He was also one of the best players, the top goal scorer, and I think the best assist provider in the same league. Messi was bad for PSG last season. But this campaign, he started so well.
But Messi won
and Messi won the World Cup, yeah.
And Messi won
they were in the
World
same
Cup
tier with PSG. And so the World Cup is probably what will edge Messi.
Yes.
And remember, the Real Madrid players, they also won the Champions League and the likes for their club side, and most of them were terrible for the national team. But you know, anytime there's a World Cup, they are the favorites to win it, especially the fact that Messi is the one that won the World Cup. If Messi scoops every individual award next for this year and last year, don't be shocked at all, at all.
Okay, Austin, I mean, the Moroccan goalkeeper that has been nominated. I mean, this is brilliant when you look at what, I mean, being able to just make it at all. It may not win it, but then, yeah, because, you know. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say about awards. If you leave me, I will give the Moroccan goalkeeper. If you leave me, I will give the Moroccan coach, the coach of the year, because what he did was phenomenal. Joined the team barely months to the World Cup and did what he did, taking Morocco to the semis. And Cecilia, I was listening to the conversation we were having with Bolu. If we want to give it to Cristiano Ronaldo and to Lionel Messi because of what he did at the World Cup, then we need to, you know, understand why people are saying Cristiano Ronaldo not being there is unfair, because Sadio Mane is on the list. He didn't go to the World Cup. Mo Salah is on the list. He wasn't at the World Cup.
Haaland.
There you go. So it's a lot of conversation, you know. So people are just wondering, and I just want to let you know that even if Messi didn't do anything for PSG and he won the World Cup because he is Messi, and for the branding of the FIFA Best Award, they will definitely give it to Messi. That's why I said it was a very controversial, you know. So Cristiano Ronaldo fans in the United Kingdom, they've been all over the media space and they've been whining and murmuring and grumbling. I'm trying to understand why some names are on that list. You mentioned Jude Bellingham, for instance, in England. We're celebrating that he's there because he's a good one for the future. He's a fantastic prospect. He didn't fail for England, you know, at the World Cup. And if you check what he's been doing for Dortmund, you could tell that, maybe they just put him in there to encourage him. But Cristiano Ronaldo, it's tough to understand why he's missing.
So obviously, I'm not going to argue about Sadio Mane. I'll argue about Mo Salah. Yes, Sadio Mane won the Nations Cup, you know, with Senegal. That's a good one. So him being there is cool because Liverpool didn't even win. Mo
Salah was in the final with Egypt.
And Mo Salah won the highest scorer in the Premier League.
Exactly.
Did he, at the end of the day, what did he win?
He won silver.
No, I'm telling you. I mean, did you have a trophy to go home with?
I thought nothing like that.
That's the thing. So that's what it is.
Like Austin is saying, there's a bit of controversy with that award because sometimes the criteria are not clear. Yeah. We can't. Is it? You can tell. Is it trophy? Is it individual? Is it stats? Is it eye test? So these things need to be. That's why I tell people things that has to do with voting. It's always a big. If there's a panel that selects, you can easily say if there's controversy, this is who we will drag.
The panel actually selected this. Panel selected this.
And Tom said, you know, some of those players don't even watch football. Some of those guys that play the game don't even watch. The likes of
I think they have technical study group from FIFA, right?
They do, but sometimes their calls are always weird.
I know what I need to ask you. Somebody only saying that FIFA technical group.
He needs to answer some questions.
To some of them and ask them why you don't have some players in there, because there's some names you look at, and then you now ask yourself, what's Erling Haaland doing there? Yes, he scored goals later part of the season, right? If you're looking at January to December, that's what we're looking at, January to December. So you've seen players who've been fantastic January to December. Vinicius Jr. is also here. Neymar, I mean.
I can't remember Neymar last season, actually.
Okay.
I can't even remember him last season. Then at the World Cup, he was just there. So some names are always tradition.
Okay.
It's time to automatically put this one there.
That's why I felt,
like Austin said, for
Ronaldo
the PR.
also should have been there because it's supposed to be tradition.
Recency bias as well is also part of it. Sometimes we can't remember January to June.
Yeah.
We remember from July to December. The World Cup was in December. Most people will remember everything that happened recently. Players that have been scoring for that club between in the new season and those that did well at the World Cup is what comes to the memory the most. But going by that, Salah shouldn't be here. Going by that, people can't even remember Mane anymore. But again, the two black players have to be there for PR's sake. Salah has lots of fan base. And like you rightly said, Mane winning the AFCON gets him there. He may not go as far as he did for last Ballon d'Or, but the fact that he won the AFCON last year again puts him ahead. But let's see who makes the top three, which is probably the most important one among everyone. Definitely, whoever makes top three, I'm sure there'll still be debate.
I think that's where the debate will even come in, because if you're having Cristiano Ronaldo won the first 2 awards that was handed out, the first time we started his best awards. I mean, he won the first 2 back-to-back, so the name has gone into oblivion. That's what it's looking like. Yeah, before we wrap up the show, Austin, the EFL Cup, yes, we have the finalists, the semi-finalists, Southampton and Newcastle United, Nottingham Forest and Manchester United. Maybe this is an opportunity for a club like Manchester United to really see how they can, win the title for the first time in 6 years, right? So Southampton, Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest, and Manchester United. That is what is looking like. So for Ten Hag, he's having an opportunity to see if he can win a trophy for the first time.
It's important. I laugh when people used to laugh at Man City that they are winning local cup, they are winning this one. I tell people, a local champion is better than no champion. It's better, at least win the worst title.
Yeah.
It helps your confidence in you yourself, in your team, and it also helps the confidence of the owners. That's why I think this should, on paper, be between Man United and Newcastle. Both of them need the title. Both of them need confidence. Ten Hag has done so well. They've won 20 games, the same number of matches they won last year, all through last season. Now they've won 20 so far, so it helps their confidence ahead of them. So I'm looking forward to the two United. Remember, they'll tell you there's only one United, the Newcastle United. Well, hopefully both of them make the final. We'll know who the real United will be.
After that, Austin, wrap this up from you.
Just be the distraction for Manchester United. Cup games are very funny. If you see the way Northampton, had to fight, to Nottingham Forest had to fight against Wolves to make it to the semis, you could tell that these small teams, they are actually pushing to get that trophy. And who is looking away from Southampton after what they did to Manchester City? That's just cup competitions for you, and Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, we know they love to go for the trophies, but for Eric Ten Hag and Manchester United, why I say this might be a distraction is because they'll just be saying, let's just do this and get to the final and find a way to, salvage our season. And then before you know what's going on, you're out. So we'll just wait to see. But right here in England, the local media are rooting for the underdogs, and that's Southampton and Nottingham Forest. We'll wait to see what football can produce. Cecilia, I think that's the show from my side. Thank you so much for doing this with us. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Bolu, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. And in case you don't know, Willian, former Chelsea player, has scored against them for Fulham.
Okay. Good one for William. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Omogbe. Have a good night rest.